Welcome to Viterbo in central Italy, where modern life thrives both in and out of these medieval walls. Situated just outside the city, something far newer. The Leopard Circuit Viterbo is the host for the third round of this year's FIA Karting European Championship for the OK and OK Junior categories, and the next instalment of the FIA Karting Academy Trophy for the senior drivers. As the season enters its second half, the drivers and teams have the annual challenge of the rising temperatures of the European summer, testing both their endurance and skill around a circuit that offers a stark difference to the high-speed straights and sweeping bends of both Spain and Portugal earlier in the season. Preparations are of course important, particularly with previous experience around this track being at a premium for all. Finding the balance in the kart's setup, the ingredients of how to execute strong qualifying pace, and then the strategy of where to defend, where to overtake. These are all elements that drivers must excel in around Viterbo if they are to score strongly here in Italy. The tale of the season so far has established which drivers are looking on course to fight for the titles in 2025. With one round remaining after the race meeting in Italy, everyone knows they cannot afford to slip up now, especially on a new track that has been seen to punish mistakes very quickly. In Academy Senior, a welcome change of conditions. After the heavy rain in Portugal, the clear skies and warm temperatures in Italy give the drivers a better chance to settle themselves for the competition ahead. And so after all of the build-up, it's time to go racing here in Italy for the second round of Academy Senior, and for OK and OKJ, round 3 for the MondoKart.com FIA Karting European Championship. A new track means a new perspective as we ride on board with Energy Corsa's Sebastiano Pavan. Turn 1 starts the lap with full commitments through this right-hander, flowing straight into Turn 2, which can catch drivers out on race starts. Next, the medium speed chicane, left through Turn 3, right through Turn 4 before the first overtaking spot of the lap, Turn 5. Now in the infield sections, the double lefts of Turn 6 and 7 keep the drivers occupied as they next run uphill towards another corner-dense region of the circuit, Turns 8, 9 and 10. Exit speed is important. The drivers are flat through Turn 11, knowing their best chance to shape a move is on the brakes next into Turn 12. This left-hand downhill hairpin offers good grip to get back on the power early and punch on the short straight before Turn 13. The camber of this left-hander offers several different lines as options, meaning overtakes are possible whilst tricky by Turn 14. Coming to the end of the lap, the drivers run tight through Turn 15. Lastly, Turn 16. Watch for the gravel on driver's left as you complete a lap of this near 1.3 kilometre circuit here in Viterbo. Viterbo's final session kicked off with the second full-length race of the year for Academy Senior. Once again, more than 30 drivers from nations around the globe had made it through to the final. After the treacherous conditions in Portugal, many were glad to run in the dry. However, with temperatures touching around 30 degrees Celsius, this would be one of the most physical tests for many of the drivers in their careers so far. Preceding the final, the drivers had raced in 3 heats. Both of Saturday's heats had gone the way of the UK's Harrison Whitcomb. Sunday's third heat saw a change, as France's Jules Avril took victory, while Whitcomb did not finish. The intermediate classification would see Avril on pole for the final, joined on the front row by Australia's Annabelle Kennedy, 24 laps in Italy to find the second Academy Senior winner of the year. From lights out, Avril got the best getaway, having started on the conventional right-hand side. Kennedy started strongly as well, holding off the challenge for second from Turkey's Aziz Birinci. The second half of the field all fought for early gains in what was a clean run through the first major braking zone of Turn 5. The drivers ran through Turn 6 and 7. Only Hungary's Donat Nemedvolci had problems, slipping to the back of the field after running wide through Turn number 7. The United Kingdom's Harrison Whitcomb was on the move, having started the final from the inside of row number 3. Having overtaken South Africa's Gianna Pascal earlier in the lap, Whitcomb went for third into Turn 12, successfully taking it from Birinci. Lap 2 and Whitcomb was on the move again, this time at Turn 5 to take second away from Kennedy. The nature of moves at Viterbo had allowed Avril to break away. The French driver's lead was already over a second. Further back in the top 10, Chile's Agustin Sepulveda was running side-by-side with championship contender Yuki Sato of Japan. Their battle soon became one for 5th place, as Poland's Wojciech Woda fell back out of turn number 12. The fight ensured that the 4-driver breakaway was clear by 1.5 seconds. The best progress early on came from Switzerland's Neil Russell. By lap 5, the driver of kart 402 had gained 8 places and was up into the top 20. a group that also contained Portimao winner Riccardo Ferrari. Ferrari not having a strong weekend on home soil as many might have expected. Lap 6 brought the first retirement of the race. Greece's Vasilios Malamis sadly suffering technical problems, bringing their race to an early close. The retirement would mean no points would be added to the tally from Portimao. Malamis would watch the race from the marshal post, knowing that any hopes of being the first FIA Karting Academy senior champion were over. On lap 7, turn 12 was the scene of a move by China's Xiao Shiyu for 25th place on Denmark's Nicholas Thayen. Out front, Avril led by just under a second from Whitcomb. Barinci had a strong hold on third from Kennedy, whilst Roda and Sato had both moved away from the chasing pack, which was naturally spreading out through each lap of the 1.3-kilometre circuit. Lap 8, Lithuania's Simas Bachushka loses out to both Slovenia's Nick Skulak and Indonesia's Kimi Räikkönen through turns 6 and 7 in battles just outside the top 20. Lap 9, the tight nature of Viterbo catches several drivers out as Sepulveda's corner entry speed contributes to a half spin for Philippe Blank, and off-track excursions for Peru's Aval Peralez and another for Nemet Volgi. Matters would not get better for Sepulveda. A bright start with plenty of promise had faded. By the end of lap 11, they were out of the final. At the halfway stage, Kimi Räikkönen was on the attack once more, now into the top 20, but not very far away from the points-paying positions. Back at the front, Avril was comfortable, holding Whitcomb at over half a second, both drivers knowing they had many laps remaining, and a large haul of points on offer to potentially move both of them back to the championship fight. Lap 15, Vayan took advantage of some close quarters racing through 12 to move into the top 20. 3 wide into turn 13 only just worked for Georgios Samalashvili to move the Georgian entry up to 24th place. The drivers had dialed into turn 12 being the best place to overtake. Lap 17, Rodion Gurjanov fought with Amador Martinez, giving Emma Dorstein the chance to get involved and move up to 9th place. Lap 18, and an open door for Roda gives the Polish driver the chance to move past Kennedy for 4th place. Roda followed through by Japan's Sato, who was efficiently accumulating points once more like they had in Portugal. Arthur Huang had hoped for a strong result having started the race 7th. This moment on lap 19 put paid to any major hopes of a top 10 finish, losing touch with the rest of the pack. 2 laps to go and Avril continued to lead. Whitcomb continued to cut the gap by small increments, but with podium positions looking set for France, the United Kingdom and Turkey, and with no changes on the last lap, Avril became the second winner of the season in Academy Senior with a composed lights to flag victory. For France, a second Academy final victory of 2025 and their first in the senior category. Whitcomb in second was the first Brit on an FIA Academy podium in 5 years, whilst for Turkey, their first Academy podium in over a decade. Unlike Portimao, there were no major changes on the podium. Avril from Whitcomb and Barinci are 1, 2, 3. Roda and Sato come home in the top 5, the latter now standings leader. Alert, Martinez, Dorstein, Gurjanov and Bulbarella all score good points in the top 10. A perfect weekend for Avril. Maximum points moves the Frenchman to second place in the standings after 2 rounds. Only 15 points behind leader Sato, with 75 points to play for in the season finale.
I'm really happy because, as you said in Portimao, I finished 10th, which wasn't really the result I expected. And I came here to Viterbo with 14th place in the championship, and to win this race with a perfect performance is truly exceptional. Yes, honestly, since the start of the weekend, I've had a very good pace. And this is a realisation to finish first, and I'm really super happy.
Yeah, obviously it's a lot better than Portimao, and we honestly just this weekend we were expecting just a nice little podium, but going on to qualifying where we poled it and we were looking dominant in the first 2 qualifying heats, and then to have the engine seize in heat 3, bit disheartened, but to go from P5 to P2 in the final, it's a really good achievement. Obviously starting the kart helped, but I think my driving when I was being a bit more smooth, a bit more calm on the brakes, etc., just driving more like a European driver, has all helped out and has saved the tyre and has kept me in the race.
Of course it feels like so good to be on the podium, and after the Portimao it's like a better result and it feels really good. It will be gonna new track for me, and we will see how it's going to be in a new track.
OK Junior's first half of the season had all been about the strong performance of the Prema racing duo Noah Baglin and Dean Hoogendoorn. The entry list of 86 participants knew that a strong showing in Italy would be required if there was to be any hope of turning the tide back in the favour of other teams. After Baglin was fastest in TQ, a different story had emerged through the heats as once again, like in Portimao, a large array of drivers had secured race victories. A clash in Superheat A between Baglin and Bosco Arias had also opened the door for others to regain ground in the championship. Ahead of a 20-lap final, Ricky Flynn Motorsports' Turner Brown and Tony Kart's CIK Christian would be on the front row. New championship points leader Hoogendoorn would start third, looking to capitalise on teammate Baglin starting in 15th. From lights out, it was a close run into a rubbered in turn 1. Christian going for the lead round the outside before having to settle for second place. The pack of 36 drivers would navigate their way through the first few turns with only a few small dramas. Brown led from Christian, Hoogendoorn holding third ahead of a strong starter, Victory Lane's Samuel Hugon up to fourth place, having started sixth on the grid. With the field into a strong rhythm, Hugon went for third on Hoogendoorn through turn 5 on lap 4. Despite resistance from Hoogendoorn, Hugon would complete the move exiting turn 7 and immediately look to chase down the front two. Behind the Forzas were also closing in, Domain, Collegia and Russo holding 5th through 7th. He wouldn't need to chase for long. A clash between Brown and Christian would see both dramatically exit the race. Christian's front bumper locked with Brown's rear bumper, taking both out of the race at turn 13. For Brown, the chance of a first FIA OKJ win was gone. For Christian, a bigger story. His hopes of the European Championship crown all but over. Victory Lane's Hugon had inherited the lead. On lap 7, William Collegia went for second place past Hoogendoorn. Little resistance from the Dutch driver, thinking smartly regarding championship points. Elsewhere, a strong weekend for Olivieri Cini would end in a clash with Solficari at turn 5. No championship points from the final for either driver, having been in good positions. Giammaria Russo was holding off Forza Racing teammates Henry Domain, with Victory Lane's Lucas Sell and Kart Republic's Devin Walsh close for company. The battle for 5th erupted at the end of lap 7. Close racing between Sell, Domain and Waltz going on to lap 8 would allow Bosco Arias to join the fray until the Spaniard clashed with Waltz. This would see another two of the big hitters out of the first half of the race. At the halfway point, Collegia was keeping the pressure on Hugon, and at turn 5 the Australian would pounce. A composed move down the inside put the Forza Racing driver into the lead of the race. Would this be the overdue win Forza were looking for? With a gap behind reducing the risk, Hoogendoorn went for it into turn 12 on lap 11 on Hugon. Too much speed meant Hugon was able to undercut and retake second place. The fight for the podium positions was very much on. Arata Endo's race would take a setback after a clash with Casper Reipold through the turn 13-14 complex. After a positive build-up to the round, the results for Ward Racing would not turn out to be in their favour round the Viterbo circuit. With less than a third of the race to go, Hugon came back at race leader Collegia. A brave move into turn 13 gave Hugon clear road ahead, using the corner's camber and curbs to great effect with only 5 laps of Viterbo to go. Could Victory Lane's trend of finishing longer races strongly on the Maxxis tyres prove to be pivotal? The turn 13 move turned out to be the key. With Collegia and Hoogendoorn unable to respond, the final laps ticked on by with Samuel Hugon securing a first win of the season. Having not won any of the preceding heats, the French driver had saved their best till last. A win from 6th, all the more impressive considering how infrequently wins from outside the top 2 rows had been all week, and an immense performance in what was remarkably a first final appearance of the season for Samuel Hugon. A surprise winner, but a deserving one nonetheless. The final result in Viterbo for OK Junior, a breakthrough win for both Victory Lane and Samuel Hugon. Collegia and Hoogendoorn's podiums set them up well for the finale in Denmark. Russo bravely held on for 4th from Sell. Domain, Baglin, Maniac, Bianco and Purcell complete the top 10 finishers. A dramatic final to cap off an eventful round for OK Junior. Hoogendoorn leads the championship but knows the job isn't done with the likes of Collegia close by. And the result for Samuel Hugon, demonstrating once again that nothing can be called predictable in this category in 2025. All eyes will be on Hoogendoorn as the drivers and teams head to Rugby for the 4th and final round. Can he hold it together and become OK Junior European champion?
Well, it was very difficult, but we managed to do it. It was complicated at the end, but we held on. Yes, we're going to try to, win back. It's going to be very complicated, but we hope it will continue.
The start was really good. We managed to make many positions. Eventually got to fifth, and then after the incident happened in front, I made sure I kept my head down, stayed focused. Eventually we got to the lead, and it was a good race from then. However, my tyre pressures eventually came off, and Samuel eventually found his pace. So we dropped down to second, just made sure I kept my head down, but overall happy I made the podium.
During the year already, we've got a lot of podiums, especially in the European Championship, where we've got 3 out of 3 podiums. So that's already a really great start of the year. Really looking forward to the next race. I'm happy with the result because I know I'm the leader of the championship right now. Just disappointed I couldn't get the win, but we know we've improved a lot since last race. So happy with that.
It's a lot of emotion because first is Samuel. First final, first win at 11.5 years old, I think. He's not even 12. So first, because I know his family, they are pushing a lot, making a lot of strong effort, like I have done with my brother Victor. So I know how it feels. And it feels even better to win today, but also to do P5 on track and to have 4 drivers in final, because last week we didn't have even 1. So it was a big change in 4 days. We had to change a lot of things. On the human, on the technical side. So it's why it was quite emotional, because we built up our weekend and Samuel finished the job. So incredible.
"35 drivers from the 76-strong entry headed into the OK final with one simple question. What would it take to beat Christian Costoya? Having taken the lead of the championship in the final in Portimao, Costoya had continued his great form in Viterbo, winning through every round of the qualifying heats and his superheat earlier on Sunday morning. With all drivers running brand new Maxxis Prime tyres as per the regulations for the final, Costoya's opponents knew they'd have a good chance to match his speed and break his point-scoring streak. 24 laps were ahead of the field of 36, with Costoya joined on the front row by Kart Republic work driver Lewis Francis of Australia. It was game on at the Leopard circuit Viterbo. From the start, Costoya started well, and Agnostiadis definitely switched to the inside to gain position from row 2. Francis's powerful second phase of his start drew him alongside Costoya, but a slight touch between the rivals would drop the Australian down to 5th. Matters would not improve for Francis. A collision with Noah Wolff through turn 5 would put both the front row starter and the Portimao podium finisher out of contention on lap 1. For Costoya, arguably the most challenging part of the race was done. Having won convincingly from this position before, he was on his way, with only Vladimir Ivanikov for Birol ART and James Anagnostiadis for Prema close by. Further back in the pack, lap 2 saw Yuri Peschel take the grass out of turn 7 while scrapping for 20th place. Noah Wolff hadn't given up hope of some points, moving past Bo Louet on lap 4 and back into the top 25. Looking to follow in the wake of the VAR by Birol driver was another Birol competitor, Spain's Eloy Gonzalez, adding to the turn 12 showreel past Matveev. Gonzalez's move also gave a chance to Louet and the returning Scott Marsh to move up the order. Marsh back in the final, having missed out making the previous race in Portugal through injury. By lap 5, Ella Hakkinen's first final of 2025 had sadly ended early. Not the result she would have wanted, but a step in the right direction. Jacopo Martinezzi was looking to give the home fans something to cheer for, including a move on Aston Sharp for 6th place through turn 12. The Scottish driver had to be patient as Peter Stiller and Lev Krutelov held the inside line through 13. Prema Racing's Kenzo Craigie would also pick up past Sharp for 9th place at the end of lap number 5. On the outskirts of the points-paying positions, Boris Leisen and Fausto Arnado fought on lap 6 for 15th place. The Polish driver's move gave Zach Drummond the opening to move himself up the order through turn 15. 2 laps later, Drummond would pass Leisen, leading to another close moment for the KRZ driver with Arnado. The heat's rising all the time. Back at the front, and Costoya was at his magnificent best, leading by over a second at the midway point. Out of turn 5 on lap 13, Kart Republic teammates Klaus Kowalczyk and Dean Pedersen clashed. leaving the pole out of the race with her head in her hands. Other retirements from the final included Ward Racing's Elliot Kaczynski out with damage on lap 13. Lap 14 and VDK's Peter Stiller found his way past Martinez in the battle of the Italians for 6th place. The final slipping away for Martinez, soon finding himself going further backwards as Louis Cachet's overtake on lap 15 paid off. The Victory Lane pilot was now up to 7th. Cachet wasn't done there. The French squad, fresh off their junior win, were pleased further as their man moved up to 6th on lap 17. Next up, Filippo Sala. Elsewhere in the top 10, Thibaut Ramekers, Craigie and Danny Kelleher all fought over 10th place in a Card Republic teams affair, the Belgian winning out in the end. Lap 18 and turn 5 again was the place for Cachet to make a move, this time on Sala for 5th place. Stiller took inspiration to try down the inside of Sala a lap later, the three front-running home favourites side by side off of turn 5. Martinez's attempt to overtake Stiller in turn 12 opened a lane for Krutelov to gain positions. A promotion confirmed as Stiller and Martinez touched off the curb. Martinez would drop to 12th. Cachet's tremendous drive continued with another T5 overtake, this time on Jakub Mikulev for 4th on the road. There would be no trouble, however, for Costoya. A dominant performance to record his 2nd win of the year, 2nd in a row, and move him and the team to within striking distance of the European Championship. The winning margin of nearly 3 seconds was the largest of the season in OK, and with late changes in the fight for 3rd involving his closest competitor, Costoya's lead in the championship had increased to 57 points over James Anagostiadis. The top 10 for the penultimate final of the year. Costoya, imperious, the fastest lap point, the only score not to go his way. Ivanikov makes it back-to-back Birrell podiums. Mikulev grabbed 3rd late on. Cachet and Agnostiadis complete the top 5 ahead of Sala, Krutelov, Ramekers, Stiller and Kelleher. For Costoya, it was a weekend of plaudits. Joined on the podium by Mikulev and Ivanikov, the Paralin team leader climbed onto the top step, knowing he could well be champion before the final in Rugby. However, there's still work to do. The points leader knows a strong start to round 4 is essential to wrap up the European Championship.
I'm feeling very good. I think we do an amazing job here in the circuit, trying to make the best we can in the heats, super heats and final. In the final we have an amazing pace, lap by lap we try to be consistent, and yeah, we take full of points, and I hope in Rugby it's going to be well. Yeah, I think this circuit is very tiny. I think it's more difficult also to manage because there isn't that big straights, and yeah, I think lap by lap I was trying to manage also myself, and yeah, and we go ready to go.
We've really been fast always on the circuit. Last week some unluck happened, but this time everything went well and we just managed to convert it finally to a podium, so mega job by my team, Birrell, by me also I would say, but yeah, everything went well. At the first laps I was close to Christian, then he pulled a bit of a gap behind myself. I never really checked the distance, but I was pretty comfortable. On the last laps, obviously, I didn't really think I could catch Christian. I just focused on keeping consistent and not losing out any places, so yeah.
Yeah, honestly I was quite surprised. I started catching James bit by bit, but then he pulled away. Then it stayed at same gap, like 0.3, 0.4. Then Cochet came and overtook me, and I dropped back a little, and I knew Cochet was very fast, so he caught James, and I knew they were going to battle. They started battling, and I got an opportunity, and I took it, and yeah, I managed to take P3 from there.
Of course, it's another amazing weekend. Christian did a super job. It's good to stretch our gap to the driver in P2, James, but the job is not done yet. So as far as we are concerned, we need to keep our focus on for Rugby and make sure that we close the job as soon as we can.
The stage is set. The players are cast. In Academy Senior, France's Jules Avril knows another weekend like this could see him overhaul standings leader Yuzuki Sato in the race to become the category's first winner, although he may need some help along the way. In OK Junior, a surprise victory for Samuel Hugon delivers on the promise Victory Lane have shown as a team in recent times. A fantastic win that adds another name to the list of strong competitors as the European Championship draws to its conclusion. The first victory in OK Junior this season for a team other than Prema Racing. Could this be the start of a new succession of results in the class? And with drama for those behind, the championship is still very much on for a number of drivers. What events will Denmark hold for the next chapter? In OK, Christian Costoya has one hand on the European Championship title. The Paralin driver was untouchable in Italy and knows that simply maintaining his points advantage through the qualifying phases in round 4 will be enough. The scene for the final chapter of our European story, rugby in Denmark on the first weekend of August. We very much hope to see you there.